Welcome once again to Talking Point. I'm Mayor Mike, and my guests this week are our Student Government Association President and Vice President, John Peralta and Andrew Glazner. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for having us.
So I thought it would be a good idea to, I know internally we've done a pretty good job of trying to bridge the gap between the university and the city. So I appreciate your help in that effort. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to let some of the people at home know some of the things that go on campus and some of the work that we're doing collaboratively together. So why don't you start a little bit by introducing yourselves and talk about your roles on campus. So Andrew, you want to start?
Sure. My name is Andrew Glazner. I'm the Student Body Vice President on the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point campus. My majors are accounting and business administration with a concentration in finance, insurance, and real estate.
That's a mouthful.
It is indeed a mouthful. You have to take a breath before you say it, because otherwise it's a two-breather. But my primary role on the campus is to oversee a lot of the internal relationships with the university and the SGA, and then as well help out with John with anything that he needs. Okay. I chair many committees, and I'm just kind of out there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's kind of the glue that kind of keeps everything together.
I try to be.
Good.
Well, my name's John Peralta, and I'm the student body president. And my main role is just to represent the voice of the student body and any concerns that they may have, and also to work with our administration, and that's the chancellor's office, to make improvements and contribute value to our university. Mm-hmm. My major is waste management, and I have minors in soil science and sustainable energy.
Okay, good. So give me an idea of what sorts of issues, what are the hot topic items right now that the student body wants to make sure that the administration and very likely the city are aware of?
Well, when Andrew and I originally ran, we went out to a lot of student organizations when we were campaigning, and we got a lot of feedback from students, and the main issues that we saw was dealing with inclusivity on campus, also sustainability on campus, as well as safety on campus. Those were kind of the three main areas. So this year, we've done a lot in those three areas. For inclusivity, we've been having twice a semester, we've been meeting with the chancellor with a lot of our multicultural students. Okay. And having kind of an open forum where we can discuss different issues that we have on campus. And then also we have been working with our inclusivity director to come up with a inclusivity training that will be available to students as well. And then also we've been kind of promoting and working with administration on creating some type of diversity training also for faculty and staff. So that's another big thing. But really our biggest thing is we've had a lot more contact with the student body. At the beginning of the year during Welcome Week, we actually had over 1,000 students come to an event called Pointer Culture, where we talked about being a more inclusive culture. We talked about privilege. We also talked about different roles that people play and how people identify. And that was a great opportunity for our incoming students to kind of learn about the different culture of UWSP.
Sure. Well, and that makes sense. I know that we have been working on a few projects together, specifically safety and neighborhood awareness. The university partnered with the city to put up the rapid flash beacons at the corner of Franklin and Division. And so far, I think they're working well. People are starting to remember that if you're in a motor vehicle, you should stop when you see those flashing lights. Someone wants to cross. Students are learning that if they push the button, wait a second, and hopefully everybody stops and they can cross safely. Same with bicycle and pedestrian type awareness initiatives that we've been doing, working together on those. There have been, I know that our police department has been working with the law enforcement on campus to talk about some of the things that you mentioned, the diversity and adapting students who may come from a larger city or a different part of the country to that Midwestern feel that we have here in Stevens Point, I suppose. And let's talk about some of the programs that the university offers that are open to the public. So residents of Stevens Point year-round can participate and become more involved with what's going on in the university? What do you have there?
Well, we have a lot of different things that go on throughout the year. The big building, our university center, the Dreyfus University Center, the DUC it's called, we have a lot of different events that go on there. We actually just had our Latino Student Alliance just put on the Celebrate Hispania event that they had going on. We also have different things coming up, like we have our theater there. All of these events are open to the public. Usually it's a $5 cover depending on what it is for the movie. But we also have, there's a Halloween dance that's coming up. Okay. There's also the face painting. I think it's like a ghouls face painting for Halloween. That's going on as well. All of these events are open to the public. Tomorrow, our big event that we have is we have Earth Jam coming up. We're going to have a whole sustainability fair where we'll have many different vendors. And the public is welcome to come in, learn about different things they can do to live a more sustainable life. And then, of course, we have the big bands that are coming in that night for the rock concert a little bit later. And that, once again, open to all of the public as well.
So let's talk about a little bit about that. I know this is probably going to air after Earth Jam, but let's talk about some of the sustainability initiatives. I know that I have work in progress with one of the waste management classes you have a composting program on campus. Talk a little bit about that, and then maybe I'll touch on what we hope to do potentially in the city about it.
Well, one of the things that our university excels in, and that is our waste management program. We have one of the most comprehensive waste management programs in the country. And so because of that, we have an excellent composting class. I'm actually in that class right now. And we have all the, we also have a, we have plans going forward to get composting right now into all the different academic buildings, as well as even into our residence halls. That's something else that we've been looking at as students to try to incorporate that as well. The other big part that puts our university apart from many of the universities in Wisconsin is we have a green fund. This green fund is basically students contribute part of their tuition into this green fund, and then at the end our students can get together during the committee, the Green Fund Committee, and pick out projects that will make our campus more sustainable. So some of our past projects were updating all of our theater lighting to LED lighting. We've also purchased electric vehicles for campus and for the university. And then our next big one that just broke ground, thank you very much to the city for approving it, and that is our covered bike shelter that's going to be going up by the DUC as well.
Good, good. So, Andrew, you mentioned that you serve on a lot of committees. Mm-hmm. I know that the campus student government chain of command, if you will, is very similar to that of the city with the president and the aldermen. You have a legislative body as well. Yeah. What are some of the things that are going on right now in SGA?
Right now in SGA, we're working on a lot of the things that the president and I ran on for campaigning in regards to sustainability, inclusivity, and as well as public safety and student safety in particular. And we also hope to branch out more with the city during the second semester. But right now we're working on getting our feet, so to speak, wet right now with these issues. Currently, we passed a statute a couple of days ago, making us the second university in the state of Wisconsin to be a fair trade designated university. Okay. The first one was Oshkosh, but of course, the program that this had they used Oshkosh as a template for every other country in the nation. So we're still in the top 50 sustainable for that particular thing. And then a couple of weeks before that, we created a letter called A Call for Solidarity in the Face of Bias and Hate. And that was signed by all three branches of our government, the legislative, the executive, which would be John, and the chair, the speaker of our Senate, Megan. Okay. And that went out to all the student body, and we got a very overwhelmingly positive response from that, saying, you know, it's great that we're doing this and that we're trying to make a huge difference, and that we're addressing these issues that are happening on our campus in regards to public safety, as well as in regards to inclusivity as well. those are some of the things that we're currently working on. We're also working on a statute for divestment right now.
Okay, and I was going to mention the divestment.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about divestment. Use this as an educational tool. What do you mean when you say divestment? And how do you hope to achieve that? What sorts of things can the university do, and anybody else who's interested in the divestment concept?
So part of the funds that go to fund scholarships, and as well as other alumni, we have foundations, endowments, and whatnot, and those are all managed by I don't know the exact title, an investment an investment manager, and they determine through.
You have a portfolio just like any other business would, or any
other corporation,
private person, where you invest money in certain things expecting a return to help generate some of the revenue you spend.
So what divestment essentially does is it tells the investment manager that we want to have a clean portfolio, a portfolio that's not supported by fossil fuels, coal, any of those potentially damaging and harmful corporations to the environment.
So instead of investing into fossil fuels as part of the portfolio, we're asking them to divest and actually take money that out of their portfolio.
Yeah, and the concept is very literally putting your money where your mouth is. If you have certain beliefs where you want to reduce the amount of fossil fuels being used, you don't want to invest in companies that do that, or that support that type of business. So that's really what the divestment concept is, and people could do that in their own portfolios if they choose to. You talk to your investment consultant and let them know what your wishes are, and people do this all the time. They want to invest maybe in a tech stock or municipal bonds or something along those lines. This is very much the same thing. It's following the beliefs, in this case, of the student body who wish to not contribute money or invest in companies that don't follow the same beliefs that the student body does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I've been a pretty big supporter of that for a while. I've attended some of the meetings, and it makes sense. I mean, if that's what the student body wants, that's what should be doing.
And this year, we're actually taking that to a larger platform, and that is we will be presenting it. We have presented it before the UW Systems reps, which is all the different presidents and vice presidents from each of the different universities in Wisconsin. And right now, we're looking to. It's still going. It's up on the docket. We'll see. It's on the agenda. But yeah, we were the first school to bring it to the system, and then we're hoping to get all of the student governments across Wisconsin to also vote in to support divestment for all the universities. So.
Good. Let's change topics here a little bit. I know, again, I mentioned before that John, you and Andrew have been very instrumental in working with the city. Every year we have a new group of students. The same challenges seem to be reoccurring, and I know that you've been working with us, and we've been trying to work with you as far as educating not only the student body but the general public as to some of the typical issues that come up, I suppose, if you will. We've got student housing rentals in family neighborhoods. These families have new groups of students that come in sometimes every semester, but at the very least every school year. And the same challenges come up. One thing I have done, even as an alderman, we have 1 or 2 student rentals in my immediate neighborhood. I always go introduce myself. It's nice to know when someone moves in. I let them know about the garbage pickup schedule. Let them know if they have any concerns, give me a call, and generally remind them that some of us got to get up to work every morning. So parties are okay, but try and keep it to Friday or Saturday night, and just be respectful of neighbors in general, whether they're students or not. It really is irrelevant in my mind. It's a matter of respecting the people that live in your neighborhood and them having that respect for you. So I know that we've been doing several things, trying to just remind people of common courtesy, I suppose, if you will. Talk a little bit about what we did, and you specifically, at the beginning of the school year, when you had some of those outreach programs, just trying to educate students, saying, listen, you're new to the community, they know, the townies, I guess, if you will. You know, it's really a matter of just getting out there, meeting each other, and being, again, responsible neighbors.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it kind of comes from what you said at the beginning, and that is going out and actually introducing yourself and forming that connection. And that's something that Andrew and I have done at the beginning of the semester, working with you, as well as the Old Main Neighborhood Association. We actually got in touch with them. They got in touch with us. We gone to a couple of their meetings, and then they've put together, AMNA has put together a little pamphlet called Welcome to the Neighborhood, where they have all of these different city ordinances, like when is the time to take out the trash, to if you park on the side of the street, you'll probably get a ticket. And that's had a very positive response. We had a housing fair, a new or off-campus housing fair, where many different landlords were invited to go, as well as we had a booth set up for the Old Main Neighborhood Association. We also had a resource fair where we also invited them to come. And this is very helpful for our students that are transitioning that sophomore, junior year from on campus, where they're so used to, you know, everything since they left home. Here's their routine: get up, go walk down the stairs, go to class, go to DeBow. Well, now these students have gone off campus, and it's a completely new thing.
Yeah.
So those students, they're in this awesome learning part of their life. So being able to approach them as a neighbor and say, hey, just so you know, I'm the neighbor, how you guys doing? That does wonders.
It really
to the relationship.
does. You know, and again, students or non-students aside, that generally works for everyone. When I was an alderperson, one of the most common things was a neighbor dispute, whether it's you know, the tree is growing on my side of the fence or whatever it is. I just encourage people to get out and meet their neighbors, whoever they are. Odds are you're going to find that you have a fair amount of things in common, and it really builds a sense of community. So anytime we have an opportunity to partner on something like that, I know that we have been taking those opportunities. And without the university here, I know that we wouldn't have half of the quality of life things, the amenities that we have now. I mean, the Noel Fine Arts Center. You have a theater that my wife and I attend several times a year. You mentioned this Wednesday at the University Center, you're having horseshoes and hand grenades play. There are things that the community can participate in on campus, just as much as there are things that the students can participate on off campus. And really I think our goal is to try and blur those lines between the town and the gown, if you will.
And I think we're doing a good job.
I think we are too, so far.
The chief of police, Chief Skiba, came to our Senate meeting, and that was one of the things that he was saying, how this is really the best time and that he can remember where our relations between the university and the community are really bridging, you know, and that's from everything from the AMNA side of things to the safety, and how we have both law enforcement working together now and helping each other out. So.
Yeah, and I know you guys have made an appearance at a Common Council meeting and introduced yourselves. I really think that goes a long way to kind of smoothing that line out. And I hope we can continue to do that through the upcoming school year and on into the future.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the compost program that you have on campus. I'm in the process right now of working with one of the university classes to try and provide the city with some options, some feasibility information on having a community drop-off compost site. It's very much in the infancy phase, but there was a meeting last night that I was unable to attend, but that's the process. The students are going to check out the options that the city might have. Is there an interest for it? Is there an education factor that we need to do? And if it is something that the community would support, how do we do it? Logistically, you know, we don't have the equipment to pick up or even separate at this point compostable and organic materials from our regular trash. But the overall goal is to reduce the amount of volume that goes into a landfill because we're all paying for that. I was a solid waste board president for a lot of years for the county, and you know, the amount of volume that the community contributes to the landfill is pretty overwhelming. And if we can repurpose or reuse some of that to make a saleable product, even in some cases, it's going to benefit everyone. So having you in waste management, I know you were with us last year. We did a tour of the solid waste or the transfer station out in Plover. There are all sorts of things that the university can and has partnered with the city on as far as doing work. You know, we get someone who is able to evaluate a process or a program for us, and the students get real life experience. Now, I know you've been involved with some of that, but do you know of any other current programs that are involved with either the city or maybe something on campus that is just in general trying to make the community better?
Well, just to talk about the composting thing, just to answer a couple of the questions, I know that it definitely can be done. We have awesome resources and we have passionate students that are all about it. A big part of a big component of that is, like we said at the beginning, how the university is a revolving door. You have students coming in and students coming out. So creating a way to make that sustainable for incoming students so that, like you said, they can use it as experience, but that on the university side, that the students aren't just letting it go after a cohort leaves. So that's a big part. And all that really is going to come down to having the right people at the table, making the plans at the beginning, and really taking some time to hammer out what that end result looks like. And then, of course, a huge part is the different feedstocks that we have. We have, you know, the university can contribute so much, but then, of course, the city does in many ways, whether it's just the leaves, you know, from the leaf pickup every fall, or is it all food waste? So there's a lot of different options, and I'm very confident that we have a great partnership where we can make that happen.
Good. One of the other things that, you know, that I've done is I've made an appearance at some of the classes through an invitation. Last semester, I think we had some pretty good input regarding public transportation. Seeing it from a student's perspective. Now, I know that the students contribute to our public transportation through their fees. They, in turn, then get free rides on our city bus. So we're always looking for ways to improve that or make that experience a little more user-friendly. One of the things that was suggested was having an app to see if the buses were running a little late, because students run on a pretty tight schedule. Your class starts at a certain time, and if you're 5 minutes late, you're going to miss something. Our buses, you know, especially when poor weather comes up, they sometimes run behind, and you may not know what the bus is doing. You know, if I got here at 3 minutes after the pickup time, did I miss the bus, or is the bus not here yet? And it's confusing for some people. So they were suggesting an app, and I know that one of the students was actually going to look into the practicality of that, and I never heard back. But that's, you know, that's an example of student input helping the community as a whole. So I don't know where that's going to take us, but I'm always looking for ideas like that from anyone. So anyone watching or listening, if you have an idea that might help make our community a little bit better, give us a call. And I think your door's always open as well. So if you see an opportunity maybe to get some students involved, they should be able to contact your office. Absolutely. And why don't we throw that information out there? So if there's an email or a phone number that anyone watching or listening can call if they have questions about student government or maybe a suggestion.
They could always email at just sga@uwsp.edu.
Okay.
We get all of those emails. That's our main SGA email. And then, yeah, we'll respond. But all that information is good. Anything to add to that?
And the phone number is 715-346-4592.
Okay, good. You know, one of my favorite partnerships, and most people don't realize it's a partnership, is trivia every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Every spring. I've been playing now. This is 40 years.
Wow.
So that's been a long time. But that really is a partnership between the university. It started out as a university fundraiser for this little radio station on campus, and now I think they're over 30,000 watts, which is, you know, respectable even for a commercial radio station.
Yeah.
But what it does for the community, there is no line between campus and off campus at that point. And I think that is a fine example of some of the things that we've done over the years to try and bridge that gap.
Well, there's two things that are kind of in the pipeline, so to speak. And so I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. But two of the big things that we're talking about is, number one, for safety. We've been talking about having some of our students, whether they're from the Vets Club or we have a SLEA, which is our Student Law Enforcement Association, putting together some type of neighborhood watch or safe walk on the weekends or something. So we've been talking about that, and that might be an area where we can have help between the neighborhood, Old Main Neighborhood Association and the city police as well, and just kind of set something up there to kind of make our streets for both communities safer. So that's one thing for safety. The other thing for inclusivity, something that's kind of in the pipeline that we're going to talk about a lot more next semester, is creating some type of collaboration between some of the family organizations like the YMCA and like the Boys and Girls Club, and then teaming up with a lot of our different organizations on campus to do some type of fair or activity thing for kids, so that different multicultural organizations or any of our organizations could also help out in doing something fun for family fun, but in a way that the family members of the community can come out and get to know some of our students and get to see some of the diversity of our student population, and also some of the skills and abilities that our students have. You know, so those are a couple things.
Well, and I know there's a lot of events. I'm not sure when they come up, but I've been to the Soul Food Dinner,
Sure.
Taste of Wisconsin. These things are all open to the public,
Yes.
and
those are all
not
nice.
only is it a great event, but it gives you an opportunity to meet some of the people that put this on, because students are really part of our community as well. And I think some people need to be reminded of that from time to time. And you know, I think we're on the right track here this year to do a good job with that.
Yeah.
So I want to remind people out there watching or listening that feel free to call my office anytime if you have questions about anything happening on campus. You can talk to John or Andrew. And one more time with that email.
sga@uwsp.edu.
Okay, and the phone number again?
715-346-4592.
Perfect. So if anyone out there watching or listening has comments or questions, maybe you want to know what's going on campus, or maybe you've got an idea to improve our community, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'd be happy to hear from you. Until next time, I'd like to thank John and Andrew for joining us. And again, I'm Mayor Mike, and thank you. We've been Talking Point.